What's good, you guys? It's your girl Solene and welcome back to my channel. Thanks for clicking on this video. I appreciate you, and for those of you that are new, welcome. Would love to have you guys subscribe and stick around and join the family. We're back with another chit chat type of a video where we're able to just talk about like life lessons, topics, things that we can all learn from, especially for a 20-something-year-old figuring life out as we go. Okay, so without further ado, let's get right into the video. Today's video is going to be the 3 tough but rewarding lessons that I've learned in my early 20s so far. I am no longer in my early 20s, as most of you know, so fair to say I've learned a thing or two in life. Number 3 is my absolute favorite and the biggest lesson I've learned, and I continue to learn because I keep making that mistake again and again. The Lord's working on me, y'all. The Lord's working on me. So lesson number 1 is going to be, I guess I subtitled it as frugal living. What this really means is just, even though you know that you are able to live above your means or well within your means, you're choosing to live below your means. So basically, frugal living is a lifestyle concept that emphasizes minimalism. A frugal person, a person who runs the concept of frugal living, will be, I don't know why I did that, frugal living, will be more considerate of the benefits of goods or services obtained for the costs that have been incurred. So we're going to break it down a little bit too. First and foremost, just stop the whole concept of keeping up with the Joneses. Why? Because the Joneses are also keeping up with the other Joneses and they're going broke as a result. And we've all heard this before. So for you, this can mean, again, not keeping up with the Joneses, or not spending more than you're saving, or choosing to start investing a lot more earlier in your life than waiting for a later time, or when you're more established, or when you're making more money, or when you know how to invest, which, by the way, there's so many ways for you to start investing a lot earlier in your life. You don't have to be a certain years of age. Of course, when you're 18 and over, the things you're able to do on your own versus when you're underage is different. But strictly kind of referring to people that are already in their 20s, especially like their early 20s, as you're having to figure these things out on your own, the kind of things you can start doing to set yourself up for a better life for your near future, and so on and so forth. So saving more than you're spending, watching your spending habits, meaning being frugal in all aspects, where you're not necessarily having to keep up with the trends, with the fashion, with the $3,000 bag or the $500 pair of shoes that you know you don't need, but you just feel the need to get it just because everybody else has it, or you're surrounded by people who tend to live that kind of lifestyle even though it's way above their means. You're just gonna have to decide that for yourself and be the kind of person who decides to live a frugal life for your sake. So that way you're sacrificing a little bit right now, but later on you're really setting yourself up financially for a much better future for yourself. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't reward yourself. I'm not saying don't treat yourself to nice things, or take yourself out, or get yourself that cute bag you were looking at, or, I'm not saying don't do that at all. I'm just saying do it with a limit. Do it knowing exactly why you're doing it, not because you feel the need to do it because everybody else around you is doing it. Because I'll tell you, that's the quickest way for you to go broke and for you to really be not financially smart with your situation. You can actually invest in things, invest in your knowledge of things, invest in how to make money work for you. So that way down the line, again, you're setting yourself up for a much better situation than you're in right now. And along with your investing would be, you don't have to wait for these big life-changing type of moments or these big milestones in your life for you to start building credit. You can actually start building credit even before you turn 18 under your parents. But again, strictly talking to the people who didn't know any better earlier than 20 plus, in their early 20s, mid 20s going on, they're having to figure out all these things, and it's just overwhelming to them. And it's really crazy too, because especially in this country, a lot of us we would have like a 4-year college degree and master's degree and all of that, but we would go through all of those years not really learning the fundamentals of credit, not really learning the fundamentals of money management or finances. It's really crazy, and we don't know these things when we're going through it. It kind of hits you after the fact. It's kind of like my experience. It's like you knew you should have known better, but you really didn't because you either didn't really surround yourself with people who could have done that for you, or did their best at the time, but really you weren't really educated on it. I've actually created a quick 20-page ebook guide that you can get at the description below as well. I essentially wrote it for women, but really like the concept in there is very versatile for anybody really, that especially for people living in the United States. I think it's really, really important that we educate ourselves on something like this, on such valuable and crucial topics like this. And I'll leave the link to that ebook in the description below. And number 2 is going to be always being open-minded to trying new things in life, new opportunities. I don't know, I feel like this kind of comes with like getting older. I'm talking like I'm a grandma, but you get what I mean. Like the older you get, the more years pass, wow, like you realize that the only things you really regret in the end are the things that you did not take a chance on, like the things that you didn't give a shot, if that makes sense. Especially in today's day and age where everything is changing so fast on a daily basis, it only makes sense for us to learn how to adapt, learn how to hop on opportunities, learn how to see what makes sense for us and eliminate those that don't, and just keep our eyes and mind focused on the things that are serving us well, and not hurting people around us but also helping people around us. So all in all, just keeping an open mind as you're growing, instead of limiting yourself in a specific box or in a specific career or in a specific interest or behavior, if that makes sense. Like, be open to trying new things, hopping on new opportunities, being curious to learn new things that you've never even thought to learn. Why? Because that's actually one of the best ways to learn about yourself as well. You're never gonna, this kind of ties back to like my last video of like hopping out of your comfort zone. Everything else you could ever learn, everything else you can ever grow into and become, it's always going to be outside of that comfort zone. We talked about that in the last video. Similarly, in this case, whenever you're pushing yourself to try new things, whenever you're opening your mind up to trying something you've never tried before, you're also going to learn so much more about yourself, your capabilities, your ability to do things, your ability to understand others, overcome a certain obstacle, right? How you dealt with it and how you will continue to deal with different situations as you're growing in life as well. And of course, things change all the time. Difficulties are gonna come, conflicts are gonna come. You're gonna start learning little things that will keep you on the path that's essentially meant for you. That also keeps you very you're mentally very youthful, very optimistic, just kind of lively, right? Instead of being redundant and kind of just keeping life mundane and boring. So whether that be booking that flight to that place you've always wanted to go to, applying for that job that you feel you're overqualified for, do it and see what happens. Whether it be a relationship you're afraid to work on, a relationship you're afraid to pursue, that business you've been wanting to start, that new opportunity you've been wanting to learn about. Just go ahead and do it. Especially when you're this young, when you're this capable, when your mind is very open to things and able to process things a lot faster. It's gonna be a lot more rewarding for you down the line if you hop on these types of opportunities now than if you sit on it now and then 10, 15, 20 years down the line sitting and then saying, dang, that was the time I should have done that. Dang, 5 years ago was the time I should have done that. While you're watching this video, if there's anything at all that's been kind of coming back and forth in your head, that you've been playing in your head, contemplating whether or not to give it a shot, whether or not to learn more about it, whether or not to pursue it, just do it. There's really no other way for you to figure it out, to see if it's the path you're supposed to be on or not, is to give it a shot, to give it a fair shot and see if it's meant for you, if it's supposed to be the thing that's meant to be in your life. Again, because at the end of the day, the only things we regret are the things we did not take a chance on. And then third, last but not least, this is the one lesson that I keep learning, that I keep having to learn over and over and over again. And that is simply because I am human, I am completely flawed, I am completely not, a perfect little thing. None of us are. So the third lesson that I've learned in my 20s so far would be to never, never, never stop going back to your creator, your father, God. Don't give up on him, because he's never given up on you and he's not going to start now. I don't know if you guys have heard of that audio that kept going around on socials, on TikTok or Instagram, I'm not sure which one, but when this lady's talking about when you're in your early 20s, it's just it's the trenches. Let me pull it up. She's talking about life in early 20s. Oh, I found it. Hold on.
I think when you're a young woman in your 20s, I don't think there's any getting out of, it's the trenches. I think when you're
It's the trenches. That's what I'm trying to say. It's hard, like the trenches, because it's hard. It's like a place where like you think you've got it all figured out, but you don't. You think you know who you are, but you don't. You're still figuring it out. You're ever evolving. You know, we're never really at a specific destination. We're never really at a specific spot because we're not supposed to be. We're supposed to be evolving. We're supposed to be changing. We're supposed to be growing. That's literally what like we're created to do. So I feel like when you're like too hard on yourself, or when you slip up and make mistakes, or we think we're not where we're supposed to be in life, or we think we're not doing what we're supposed to do in life at this stage in our lives, right? Even if you just turned 20, or if you're early 20s or mid 20s or late 20s, whatever. The 20s, like she said, the trenches. It's like the phase of our lives where we're going to be faced with the most difficulty when it comes to like relationship with self, relationship with God, relationship with the people around us, relationships we have with our goals. It's just a whole lot of like figuring it out. It's not going to be something that's ever going to be figured out and done, right? It just can't be. It's life. It's always going to be like, you know, up and down, up and down. All in all, to say, regardless of where you are in life right now, how far off you think you are with your relationship with him, how far off you think you are with relationship with yourself, even when nothing is going your way, and even if everything is going your way right now, or you think there's no point in going back and, you know, trying to like redeem this relationship, don't ever stop going back to God. Don't ever stop going back to him and asking him to help guide you through every single aspect of your life. No, he doesn't only care about the big things. No, he doesn't only care about the most difficult things in your life. He cares about the little details. He cares about the little things that make you happy, that are bothering you, that are not going your way, that are also going your way. Because if everything is going your way, it's so easy to take you away from him. Why? Because why would you go to him? Everything is going your way. Why would you ever look up? Because everything else that you want is around you horizontally. You're never going to want to look up vertically and look for him or keep talking to him. And that's the thing about us as humans. That's one of the saddest things about us as human in general, and stuff I've seen in my life. I've done it myself too. We only tend to want to have this strong relationship, want to have this, you know, back and forth with God only when we're in difficult situations, only when we're in a messy situation and we really need him to get us out of it, because we know dang well that we can't do it ourselves. He cares about it all. He cares about your little details. He cares about every single aspect of your life. So just keep going back to him, no matter what you've done, no matter where you've been, no matter how far off you think you've gone, how much you think you've disappointed him or anything like that. In any shape, way, or form, don't ever stop going back to your creator. He wants that relationship with you. He wants that time with you. If you don't take anything else from this video, take this one point away. Don't ever stop going back to him. One thing you really want to understand is you woke up this morning alive and well because he's not done with you yet. You woke up this morning and have breath in your lungs right now and watching this video on your phone, on your laptop, whatever, because he's not done with you yet in this life. When I say he's not done with you, not just to mean it as something disposable that's used one time and, you know, gone the next, but as something valuable, like you're meant to do something with the time you have here. It's not my job to tell you what that is. I'm trying to figure it out myself, girl. And another thing to note is that he also actually saw this a while back. It was somewhere along the lines of, he didn't give you another day to live because you needed it. He gave you another day to live because you living is connected to somebody else's blessing. Basically, you're awake today because somebody else needs you alive, because you're supposed to be an answer to somebody else's prayer out there. It doesn't mean somebody you know. It doesn't mean somebody you've met before. It can be a complete stranger. Y'all know the Lord works in mysterious ways. Even if you're young, I'm sure you've seen his hands work in your life in one way, shape, or form. This whole thing is just turning into a sermon, but you get the point of what I'm trying to say. By you being given another day, not only for you, but your life is also connected to somebody else's blessing. I've definitely seen these dots connect in life. Again, I sound like I'm a grandma, like I've lived 100 years or something. I've just seen a thing or two, and I don't really see a lot of, at least on my For You pages, like on YouTube or whatnot, a lot of like young content creators talking about something like this, unless they're specifically like a faith-based channel or specifically like a sermon-based channel. And that includes me as well. Like, I would love to do it more. I'm working on that. Like I said earlier in the video, I'm working on it and he's working on me, y'all. He's working on me. Again, just to summarize the points we talked about in this video, the 3 big lessons. Number 1, frugal living. Lesson number 2 is always being open-minded and up for trying new opportunities. And last but not least, number 3, never, 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 ever stop going back to God, your creator, for anything in life. And that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you took away some valuable information that you can start really thinking about, meditating on, and kind of implementing into your own lives as we grow together. And I say together because I'm in this with y'all at the same time, you know. It's a one day at a time type of growth lifestyle. So I'm excited to create more content on topics like this moving forward. And I'll love it if you guys could leave comments on any type of specific topics you guys would like me to touch on or talk about in future videos. Again, I appreciate you guys for clicking on this video and watching. And if you're still with me, thank you. I appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure to subscribe and like this video as well. It would definitely help out the channel grow and reach more people for them to benefit from it as well. And other than that, thanks guys so much for watching again, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.